Hey folks, Red Labor here. I hope you're having a great day. I want to talk about political correctness. Political correctness is a two-way street, but a lot of people has this notion that political correctness is, a bunch of liberals, lefties, trying to create a new political orthodoxy. And while there is an element or a grain of truth to that, political correctness also exists on the political right as well. So I want to say that political correctness is a two-way street. Yes, we'll talk about the obvious. There are probably some college professors and street fighters out there, people who like to protest, what have you, that they'll say the same old cliche things, and when they're protesting, or the political science, sociology, history professors would give a political spin on things, and they may sit there and try to make somebody who has an opposite viewpoint feel bad about themselves. I don't deny there are people like that out there. But in a university setting, even many of the left-leaning faculty, professors, what have you, a lot of them are free thinkers for the most part, encourage debate, and I've never seen anybody when I was in college. I've never seen a conservative being belittled by a liberal professor. I'm not going to say it never happened anywhere. I just haven't seen it for myself. So I want to discuss that, and I also want to say that I've seen, I've seen, and I've seen political correctness. I've been attacked too by people on the left. Some people on the left because I don't take a party line position, or I don't fall under a uniform point of view on certain things. So okay, there are people on the left who are guilty of that sort of thing, but there are those on the right that do the same thing as well. On the left, they come out of the out of the universities. On the right, they're usually televangelists or mega church ministers or what have you. But it's still political correctness just the same. So when you're going around and you go to a church setting, or you're hearing people in the Tea Party rallies or what have you, saying that if you vote for a Democrat, you're just a terrible person, or if you don't fall into 100% what the conservative agenda, you may be tossed aside. Like for example, I mean, I'm sure libertarians, who many libertarians who are socially, well, there's not so much they're socially liberal, but their positions kind of sometimes put them on the same side on the liberal left end of the spectrum. If they support pot legalization or gay marriage or reproductive rights, they'll get chastised by those on the right. You're not one on our own. You support abortion. You support gay marriage. That sort of thing. And it's just as bad as if you're on the left, and these days, and they find out that, oh, I don't know, they find out that you support Israel or something like that. They'll be like, you support this apartheid state, or what have you. It's really silly. It's crazy what goes on both sides of the political spectrum when they want to impose an ideological orthodoxy. Michael Kinsley, who was the former editor of the New Republic magazine and co-host of CNN's Crossfire, he did an editorial back in 1991 called PCBS, Political Correctness Bullshit. And he basically said that political correctness can be a right-wing phenomenon. When William Buckley, who wrote God, Man, and Yale, he was actually arguing for a political correctness of sorts from the right. a political orthodoxy in the university setting of exclusively pro-Christianity, pro-conservatism, pro-capitalism. Now, William Buckley is not. I mean, I don't think William Buckley was a bad man when he was alive, or what have you. I mean, I disagree with plenty from William Buckley. Yeah, and but William Buckley was certainly a brilliant mind compared to the people like Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh, who are just absolute buffoons today. William Buckley was a quality mind, and he was a true intellect, as wrong as he was politically on the issues. But the thing about it is that it's an example right there. That was one example of trying to create an orthodoxy. I believe that university settings or anywhere where discussion is being invoked on the issues of the day, that people should you should stand your ground. If you're on the left, make your left-wing argument. If you're on the right, make your right-wing argument. Yeah, and if you sometimes think outside the box on either end of the spectrum, that's great too. I mean, as I said, I'm a man of the left, and there are some issues where I kind of part company on the left. I don't believe in gun control, for example. I mean, I don't think it's not so much that I'm against that I love guns. I really don't. But the thing about it is that I personally view gun control as not problematic, but poverty. You need to go after poverty. Declare war on poverty, not innocent gun owners. So I don't advocate gun control. And plus, it's the Second Amendment of our Constitution. It may not be one of my favorite amendments, but I would never want to see an amendment taken out of the U.S. Constitution, because that's a slippery slope right there. So anyway, there are other issues. As I said, I am pro-Israel. Now, being pro-Israel used to be a political tenet of the left over a generation ago, and I'm sorry that a lot of people on the left has abandoned their support for Israel. It makes just as much sense as the right, who were indifferent toward Israel a generation ago. Many of them support it. I mean, it makes no sense on either camp. But I would go into a discussion about Israel and Zionism in another post. But anyway, but my point is that I think outside the box. As I said in one previous post, when it comes to various issues like gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender rights or whatever, I support the right of people to support the right basic equality for everyone. At the same time, if you're a bigot, or if you're if you're a bigot at worst and just critical at best of homosexuality, you have your right to be that way too, as long as nobody's rights are being taken away from them on either side. Have at it and debate the issue. Horrible as white supremacy is, when dumbass neo-Nazis or the Ku Klux Klan wants to march in a public street, they have a constitutional right. The ACLU were correct in the past when they defended the American Nazi Party's right to march in Skokie, Illinois in the 70s, or to protect the right to privacy of the Ku Klux Klan down in Georgia over 20 years ago, when they marched down a public street to have a right to have their faces covered in the name of right to privacy. The American Civil Liberties Union, is an organization that's on the political left, have been very, very consistent when it comes to defending civil liberties of everyone. And so this is what I'm talking about. I mean, political correctness can exist on both sides of the spectrum. There are people that want to curb speech on the left. There are people who want to curb speech on the right. There are people who want to expand freedom of speech and preserve it on the left and right. So, sometimes there are certain issues that defines the left-right paradigm. For example, when you have ultra feminists and fanatical people from the religious right going around protesting against pornography. they disagree on a host of issues all across the board. But when it comes to pornography, they have their political reasons to be on the same side on that issue. And the thing about it is, I mean, sometimes I get a little bit frustrated with some feminists because sometimes they end up acting very socially conservative when they proclaim not to be. I'm a free thinker, and I like what Nadine Strawson, the former president of the American Civil Liberties Union, said about those kind of feminists. She says they're the anti-sex feminists, and then she said, well, I'm a feminist and I am for sex. And she got a round of applause over there at UNC Chapel Hill. But the point I'm trying to make is that political correctness exists on both sides, and there are enlightened free thinkers on both sides, and I just want to have that corrected. And and anyway, I hope to comment. I want you to comment, folks. I've been on this YouTube page for the last couple of weeks, and I would like to get some feedback. Thank you, and have a great day.